Welcome back to Black News Tonight. With drastic changes globally in both climate and the marketplace, African nations are poised to enter an era of greener industrialization that could speed up their development and economic growth. The industrialization of Africa could lead to widespread development, resulting in a spike in productivity and job creation for a labor force that is in need of long-term jobs for the continent. Two of the major figures leading Africa into the future are star Ghanaian entrepreneur Osagyefo Freedom Jacob Caesar, who is transforming Accra's skyline, and business development strategist and friend of the show, Baker Kabanda, who wrote the branding and marketing focused book, Building Your Influence. Joining me now are Freedom and Baker. Thank you both for joining me on the show. Freedom, I'm going to start with you. You've gone from scraps, literally, to scraping the sky with properties in Accra. Talk to me about how your childhood and your environment helped you recognize the need for industrialization in Ghana and throughout the continent.
Well, first of all, I was raised on the farmland with a penniless, broke mother. And it's not about the property, it was just about the value of life. When I realized that I have an opportunity to be on this earth, to be a part of this universe with human beings, with friends, with animals, with trees, there was so much that this world had for me from the beginning. So I decided to experiment this world. And that probably moved me into my entrepreneurship, from the right age of 8 years old. And from then, I've just respected nature and what I can get out of nature and give back to nature. So that is just the secret and the background and the foundation of my business ethics, which has brought me to a level of nation building. So this is where I've come from. This is how far I've come. And going forward is what we're about to talk about tonight.
When you talk about nation building and industrialization, when we think about Africa, what does that look like?
I mean, this is something that we've been lacking for the past 3 centuries. Africans have never thought about industrializing their own minerals and their own resources. They've always believed in giving away their resources to outsiders, to foreigners. And foreigners have to refine their resources and come back and sell it to them with taxes on top. I mean, how can you build an economy like that? That is so crazy. It's backwards. I mean, the younger generation have realized that if we can build Africa, first of all, we have to build our race. We have to build our culture. We have to build our continent. We have to retrieve that heritage value of whatever that we're getting out of our resources and start to industrialize it and develop the humanitarian sector for us to be able to have our own GDP that would be actually considered in the G20.
Wow. Now, according to economists who are forecasting Africa's future, the continent's working age population is predicted to surge by almost 70%, and it would reach about 450 million or so people by the year 2035. How will that impact the need for industrialization of the continent?
I mean, point of correction, it would reach about 620 million out of the 1.2 billion population of Africa. That tells you that we're going to have the youngest task force, the biggest army in the world at that moment. And at that moment, Africa's biggest opportunity is that we would have industrialized our own minerals, created employment and development, and that would make us control a portion of this world because we would change the importation into Africa that sucks out the revenues and the cash and the monetization into other parts of the world. This time, we would have changed it from importation to exportation. So definitely these young people in the next 10 years that are going to be between 15 to 45 would give us the biggest labor force in history. And I'm looking forward to that with all these new conditions and regulations that, talking of the new African free trade, that it's really something that is going to change Africa for 54 countries to be able to trade amongst themselves. Definitely, we need industrial platforms. We need manufacturing hubs to be able to manufacture our own resources, our own minerals, and trade it amongst ourselves. So that's just the future. And I see the future bigger than what people expect to see about Africa, which is quite interesting for me, very much interesting.
No, it's very interesting for all of us, man. Baker, let me bring you in. With the boom in the use of e-commerce throughout the world, especially during the pandemic, how can Africa tap into the digital marketplace, and what are the benefits of doing so?
Actually, Mark, Africa is already tapping into the digital marketplace in a very, very big way. We have platforms such as Jumia. Jumia is an e-commerce platform that enables Africans to transact, buy and sell goods through the internet. We are seeing big players like Amazon coming on board. Amazon is opening up their headquarters in South Africa, Cape Town. We are seeing players like Twitter and other social media platforms coming on board to help facilitate the process. So Africa is really tapping into it in a very big way. This is a young population. 75% of the population is below the age of 35. They're very tech savvy, and thankfully, Africa has a high mobile phone penetration rate, which is at about 75%. I'll give you an example of South Africa. In South Africa, 91% of adults own mobile phones. And out of that 91%, 51% of those actually have smartphones. So with access to smartphones, it makes it very easy for people to actually operate on the internet. The challenge has been on the side of the proliferation of the internet across the continent, which is still a little bit low. But thankfully, players like Facebook are coming on board. Facebook has a project where they're supposed to be beaming internet from the space onto the continent. Google recently invested over $1 billion to try and expand internet coverage across the continent. So with access to mobile technology, a young tech-savvy population, the pandemic itself, because the pandemic has forced people to actually stay in their houses because of the lockdowns. Once people are in their houses, they can't move, and yet they want to transact. So they have no choice but to turn to the internet. So the pandemic, the young population, the internet, access to mobile phone technology, all these are playing a part in exploding the digital economy across the continent.
Baker, what is leading to the reversal of young Africans leaving the continent for other opportunities? I'm thinking about how this is affecting investments in Africa, not just for people who are sort of internally in the continent, but also people around the world. It seems to me that there's a bit of a shift.
Yes, young Africans are leaving the continent in large numbers, and partly it's out of necessity, and I'll blame it on the Western world. The Western world, I'll give an example of America. America are one of the greatest people when it comes to branding. They put an image that is larger than life out there. You know, you talk of the American dream. If you watch music videos, people like Lil Wayne will have money falling from the sky. All these allure the young Africans to rush to the Western world in search of greener pastures. But what we have noticed is when they get over there, they realize that money doesn't actually grow on trees, and the grass is actually greener where it is watered. So most of them are getting over the Western world, they're picking up skills, saving up some capital, and they're looking back at Africa in terms of investment and resettling. So if you look at an example of the Chinese are coming onto the continent, very poor. They come, they huddle up, 5 of them in a house. They start a small business enterprise, and in a short period of time, they're millionaires. The former president of America once made a comment that he has a bunch of friends, and when they go to Africa to get rich. So all these things, people who are getting the Western world are realizing that Africa actually has opportunities. So they're getting there. Some of them are staying, but there's a class of them that are actually looking back at the continent to come back and do business and investments. And in this regard, there are initiatives. For example, there is the Move Me Back initiative based in UK, which is helping Africans who are interested in coming back onto the continent. It's helping them by identifying opportunities in terms of job placements. Absolutely. Normally, African companies need experts, so they're trying to place them in jobs such as that, and identifying investment opportunities for them.
And those are important jobs. And those are important jobs, and they really reflect the trend toward really building what some are even calling the new Africa. And I don't know if that's the right language or term, but certainly we're seeing Africa as a site of possibility, and no longer as Freedom said, of exploitation from outsiders, but internal investment, internal self-determination being expanded, and real opportunities to grow as the continent should. And I'm so happy that you two are at the forefront, not just of the conversation, but of the work that's being done. Baker, Freedom, thank you both for joining me on Black News tonight.